The roar of the crowd is deafening. Sand kicks up, sticking to sweat-slicked skin. A heavy bronze helmet obscures the world, leaving only a narrow slit to see the opponent. This is the image we all have of the Roman gladiator, a nameless, faceless warrior, living and dying for the entertainment of the masses. But what if I told you that this picture is only a tiny fragment of a much larger, more complex mosaic? What if the man behind the helmet was a rock star, a brand ambassador, a businessman, even a lover who left love notes on city walls? Forget what you think you know. We're about to pull back the curtain on the arena and uncover the surprisingly vibrant, complicated, and very human secret life of the Roman gladiator. They weren't all slaves condemned to die. In fact, a growing number of gladiators were octorati, free men who voluntarily signed a contract with a gladiator school, or ludus. Why would anyone choose this life? For the same reasons people chase dangerous dreams today: fame, glory, and a surprising amount of money. Top-tier gladiators were the superstars of their day. They earned prize money that could dwarf a legionary's annual salary in a single fight. Think of them as the highest-paid athletes in the world. Their faces were everywhere, on mosaics, oil lamps, and pottery. Kids played with gladiator action figures carved from clay. They were celebrities. Their every move followed and gossiped about. Life in the ludus was a paradox. It was a prison, but it was also a high-performance training center. New recruits, or novici, underwent a brutal but effective regimen. They were fed a specific high-carb diet, often heavy on barley, which earned them the nickname hordeari, or barley men. This wasn't about making them fat. It was about creating a layer of subcutaneous fat over their muscles. Why? To protect them from superficial cuts. A shallow slash would bleed spectacularly for the crowd, but wouldn't immediately disable the fighter by hitting a vital organ or muscle. It was all part of the show. Training was overseen by a lanista, the school's owner and specialist trainers called doctores, a doctor of the retiarius style, who fought with a net and trident, wouldn't train a secutor, who was heavily armed. They practiced with wooden swords called rudes, which were often heavier than the real thing to build strength and stamina. This wasn't just mindless hacking. They learned footwork, parries, and specific attack combinations. It was a true martial art, a deadly science. And the bonds forged in the ludus were intense. Gladiators lived together, ate together, and trained together. They called each other family, forming a brotherhood in the shadow of the arena. Now let's talk about the fight itself. The idea that every match ended in death is one of history's biggest misconceptions. Gladiators were an incredibly expensive investment for their lanista. Think of the cost of housing, feeding, and training them for years. A lanista wouldn't want his prize asset killed off in his first fight. Most matches were fought to first blood, or until one fighter surrendered, which they did by raising a finger. At this point, the editor, the sponsor of the games, would decide their fate, often taking cues from the crowd's reaction. A thumbs down gesture, which likely meant thumbs up, symbolizing a drawn sword, was the death sentence. But a thumbs down gesture tucked into the fist might have signaled mercy. A gladiator who fought bravely even in defeat was often spared. He was a valuable commodity, and the fans loved a comeback story. Because they were celebrities, gladiators had a massive following, especially among women. Graffiti from Pompeii reveals the extent of their heartthrob status. One inscription reads, "Celadus the Thracian makes all the girls sigh." Another proclaims a gladiator named Crescens as the master of girls. Roman noblewomen were known to have affairs with them, seeking the thrill of consorting with these symbols of raw, untamed masculinity. They weren't just fighters. They were sex symbols, their dangerous profession adding to their allure. Some gladiators even endorsed products. Their images used to sell anything from olive oil to wine. They were, in a very real sense, the first brand influencers. But what happened when their fighting days were over? If a gladiator survived long enough, he could be awarded the rudis, that wooden training sword, symbolizing his freedom and retirement. These retired gladiators were highly respected. Many became trainers themselves, passing on their deadly knowledge to the next generation. Some became bodyguards for wealthy politicians or nobles, their reputation preceding them. They had survived the ultimate trial and emerged as legends. They were no longer just fighters. They were masters of their craft, living proof that one could face death in the arena and walk away to tell the tale. Their stories are a powerful reminder that behind the myth and the spectacle, behind the helmet and the sword, there was always a human being with hopes, fears, and a life far richer than we ever imagined. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the past. If you found this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe for more hidden histories. Let us know in the comments which part of the Gladiator's life surprised you the most. See you next time.